So the Frankenstein monster asks for a bride, a mate. Is that necrophilia?
No, because
Why
I
not?
believe if we're going deep into it, necrophilia is the act of getting pleasure out of having sex with a dead person.
So one person has to be alive.
Well, and the other one has to be dead. I would say in this case, they're both reanimated. I mean, it's alive! It's alive! It's not dead. It's alive.
Yeah.
But I think the negative associations with necrophilia, beyond the fact that I think you can get a lot of diseases from it, is...
What kind of diseases?
It is, but it's like non-consensual too. You're having sex with a dead body that can't say no. And I think that's like why it is bad. That I would say this is reanimated and reanimated, you know?
Is there a word for two reanimated beings having sexual intercourse?
I feel like this is a question for Dungeons and Dragons. The actor who played Igor in the OG Frankenstein just passed away this past year. And it was interesting because he was known for his like giant eyeballs. It was a very distinctive character. But so good. Yeah.
Who was that? He's also in oh my god, what's that detective novel?
Dick Tracy.
That was adapted. Oh, the Maltese Falcon. No, Dick Tracy's great. The Maltese Falcon. Who is it? Peter Lorre? Is it Peter Lorre who died?
Give me 1 second. I feel like
because he's got like sort of like the big eyes.
I'm talking about. Oh, actually, I'm talking about Young Frankenstein. Actually,
oh no,
I'm talking about Young Frankenstein.
Oh,
sorry,
Young
sorry,
This
sorry.
guy died at 64.
No, Marty
Young
Feldman.
Frankenstein.
Sorry,
Young
the Gene Wilder Young Frankenstein is like my go-to Frankenstein, just because it's. I mean, it's so good. I guess yeah. There's like a wide swath of Frankenstein movies.
His eyes are like that normally.
I can't remember if they're normally like
that,
or I think that they're normally like that, and that's like why he got cast. But then he did. He was like a comedian, and he did a number of.
Well, he didn't die recently. He died in '82.
I did. Okay, yeah. Then I have been time traveling.
Anyways, well, I don't think I've seen Young Frankenstein either.
Okay, I mean,
I'm after every time we do these, I'm like, okay, I gotta add this to my watch list, and but yeah. Going back to the original black and white Universal, yeah, I've not seen those. That's a big hole in my sort of
interesting
film watching library.
I mean, I would say Frankenstein is it's one of the classic monster movies, and I feel like those classic ones, right? You've got what Frankenstein, Dracula, the werewolf, Wolfman, and the thing from the swamp or the thing from the lagoon, whatever you want to call it.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Invisible Man.
Each of them is like the foundational. You find empathy in the monster. Like they were the originators of, I think, those ideas where it's like this monster, but it's not just an evil thing that's a horror movie. You're empathetic. Oh, they brought back this, Frankenstein. They pieced this thing together. It has life, and yet it's not trying to do evil, but people see it as a monster, put it in this box, and then the pitchforks and the fire, and they're going after it, and it's scared of fire, and it's like, it almost reminds me a little bit of Mice and Men. With you ever read that?
I read it, yeah.
And you have Lenny, and he's big and not the smartest, but like he doesn't mean harm, but he sometimes does harm when he's afraid or trying to do things, and that then has negative repercussions. That I mean, Frankenstein, is that originally, and then you have that leveled up with Young Frankenstein because they add the humor in it, and it's not like they asked to be a monster, That I think that's what makes it that makes each one of them interesting movies in different ways, right? Because I mean, Dracula. That's a sort of different level because Dracula usually has more control and is controlling others, but like the Wolfman changes into a wolf with the moon. Every werewolf story is like, oh, they lock themselves up to try and protect others, but they get free. I think the Shape of Water, right, is sort of the monster from the lagoon or whatever, the swamp monster is captured, and it's not an evil thing, it's just being kind of tortured, and then it set it free, and it's actually like some kind of godlike character.
Yeah, it's like what humans don't know. They fear what they don't know.
And it's the
kind of thing.
Perfect prototype for that.
Yeah. There's a lot of themes to it, and for sure, obviously, like even the original Mary Shelley's novel.
No, I mean, a fear of the unknown. I mean, that novel starts off and isn't he like the sole survivor on like of a shipwreck in the Arctic, and he's explaining like the moaning sounds or the things that you hear, and it's like the Frankenstein trying to track them down. I think that's how it starts. It's been a while since I've read it.
I can't remember. It's definitely been a while since I've read that novel, and I definitely want to check out the new Netflix movie as well. But yeah, let's dive into this one.
Welcome back to Trailer Teardowns. One of your co-hosts, Evan Bass-Zeisel, with Angel Acevedo, and today we are discussing the trailer for the movie The Bride.
An updated take on The Bride of Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm. No, it is.
I guess. You know, I haven't seen the original, but
I dressed up as the Bride of Frankenstein for Halloween one year. I had a huge afro, and so I pulled my afro back, and then I put the white streak in, and then I borrowed a friend's bra and filled pantyhose with birdseed. Drag queen fun tip. That's how you get some good supple fake boobs. And borrowed a dress, and boom.
Excellent. I bet that was a sight. So this movie's directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. She's directed a couple other movies. The Lost Daughter was her last one, and Homemade is another movie, but that was like an anthology movie that's on Netflix, made during COVID. From my quick research. So it has a bunch of filmmakers, a bunch of short films. So she has a short film in that. This movie starring Jessie Buckley, Christian Bale, and a slew of others. Peter Skarsgård,
her husband,
Annette Bening. This movie's coming out March 6th. And some interesting facts. This is a remake of the sequel to Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. So Mary Shelley wrote the original 1918 Frankenstein novel, which was adapted, as we know, into the 1931 movie with Boris Karloff. And then there's the Bride of Frankenstein sequel movie that came out in 1935. However, there is no sequel novel. Bride of Frankenstein is an original story. But did you know the original novel does hint at the bride character? Because the monster asks for a mate, and then Dr. Frankenstein begins creating the monster or the mate for him, but ends up destroying it in the novel.
Destroying love. That is in a sense.
Destroying love. He destroys love. So that's from my Cliff Notes research there. So yeah, the 1935 Bride of Frankenstein is the original movie, and so The Bride, this new movie, is a remake of it. But it seems like it has like some sort of more to it. Again, I don't know. I've not seen the original.
Yeah, and I really like even just the title, The Bride. Like, it implies the Bride of Frankenstein, but it's, wasn't Kill Bill Volume 2 was like Volume 1 was The Bride?
No, they were just called Kill Bill.
But I thought they had a subtitle to it. Maybe I'm wrong. But I mean,
I think that was just like the tagline or just used in the promotion.
But I really like the idea. It's like The Bride, and you're like, the bride of what? Or the bride, whose bride? And it's like, oh, the Bride of Frankenstein. Like, it's, it's clear once you get it, but it's almost pulling the audience in from the beginning of a very generic, open-ended thing. But because Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein is a very big pop culture thing, you're probably going to land on that. Or very soon when you start the trailer, pick up what they're putting down, as it were.
So what'd you think of this teaser? It came out many months ago.
I've seen it a few times. I'm a big fan, actually. I haven't actually seen The Lost Daughter. I've seen the trailer for it, but this teaser felt like its own short film to me. Like, you could, I don't want to say like feel the direction in it, and I mean it in a positive way, but it was like, it felt like the teaser was artistically thought about. And we talked about, the art versus advertising, and I just, from the ink imagery to at the very end, there's the nod to the classic Frankenstein, the head in the jar, but it has that, like, even just the beginning, it has the scream, and then it has like some beats. It's got the voiceover, the electronic music, the use of like the blank screen to sort of like hide from the audience what they're seeing. But it's almost, it made me think of, at times, if you have like, sometimes there's pictures, and every couple inches a line is cut out, so you get almost like a cut up of it, but you know what the whole picture is because you like the brain works that way. They did that with some of the sequences where really they had like a 5-second sequence, but they cut in black segments. There's the moment in the middle with Christian Bale and I think the bride also like running somewhere like across a field, and you know they could have kept it, but they cut it to sort of show gaps to make it, I don't want to say artsy, but like create kind of a vibe that I really liked. Yeah. Just, you know, the like particular use of slow motion and like different like close-ups or mediums. Like it just seemed like sometimes I feel like we get like it's the music is driving the teaser, the trailer, or there's like the visual landscapes are driving the teaser trailer in that moment. And there are certain moments like when she's falling down the stairs, like everything was driving it together that I feel like we don't see as much in the teasers or the trailers that we watch. I don't know if does that make any sense?
It does. I mean, I definitely 100% agree with you. The vibe is really cool. And that's what stood out to me the first thing when I watched it. It's like, did not expect this. I knew they were making this movie. I heard about it. But when this came out, I was like, oh, wow, this is different. This is cool. And Warner Brothers over the last year I feel like they've been on a tear with like their slick and stylish teasers and trailers from Sinners, Weapons, and Minecraft.
I was like, we talked about Minecraft. I don't know if...
Slick and stylish. No, but definitely Sinners, like that first teaser. We talked about that ad nauseum. Weapons, both of those great trailers, great teasers. And this one, I think, is just continuing that trend.
Do you think they're trying to learn from A24? Because I feel like A24 set the bar with a lot of trailers.
Maybe. I feel like there could be some influences, though. This feels very more commercial. Whereas A24, at least like early A24 stuff, like less commercial type, like in the way they promote. But this feels very much like a studio. And if anything, you can like break it down in terms of like it's almost kind of like a music video.
Yeah,
too.
I felt like that too. Actually, like when the electronic music comes in, I was like, ooh, it turned it. I was just like, yeah.
No, you kind of get into like oh wow, okay, cool. This is just intercut with the visuals. That black ink imagery is really cool. You know, that's doubling for blood, but it works here.
Well, and also on her face,
like
which you're like, why does she have the ink on her face and her body? Like, it's so curious.
Well, you know? I suspect when they create her, bring her back to life, they're transfusing her. Because I think like there's a shot of like stuff and
the two jars.
I don't think they're putting ink in her, but like whatever it is, it's in her body and that's just there. And I'm sure that was just like, that looks cool, let's do that. It's very stylish, and I like, again, I have not seen the original movie, but I suspect this is sort of like not a straight up remake. Maybe it is, I don't know, but I like this take of like this like Bonnie and Clyde sort of like story that they have going on. I like the setting, the prohibition, you know, the 30s, whatever, you know, 30s or 40s or prohibition era, that kind of like setting. That's pretty cool. So it feels very commercial and not I don't know, it doesn't feel stiff. Even though like Frankenstein is a stiff character.
But it's a little less stiff even as a character. I mean, as Christian Bale, Frankenstein is not the OG 1931 or even the 70s one where it's like you can't bend the knees, that it's the very stiff movements where it's kind of like not even walking but kind of like a weird shuffle, that he's you know, it almost got the sense like I think there's their sequence that like they're dancing a little bit either at like this, you know, like it's
oh yeah, there's like they're like getting down on the dance floor for sure. Yeah, very different.
It is very flexible in that sense,
and they seem to have a little bit more personality too to them.
Yeah,
but it's not what I expected. You know, obviously there's the mobs going after them. You know, you kind of know that from the original movies. But, you know, there's police involved. It seems like they're committing crimes, too. I'm intrigued by it, though I feel like I should watch the originals first before I see this, just to kind of just see that progression and how they got there.
Makes me think of The Great Gatsby. So The Great Gatsby, there's a lot of color themes. So there's like green and red for, go and stop. There's purple or variations on purple where it's like watered down purple because it's not actual royalty or whatever. If you watch this teaser and look at the color red, it's really interesting because some of the film, it looks very flat, and then red is the only thing that pops. And then once you start looking at red pops up everywhere. It's like when there's a police car and the red light on top of the police car is the only red. Like her dress is red, and the background of the floor, her shoes are red, but like things look kind of bland. And then you have the stairwell, the graveyard. There's not much color in it except for her red dress. Even the Frankenstein's workspace is very bland. The clothes that they wear are very, watered down a little bit. And then the only real pops of color other than that is like the cop is wearing kind of some light blue, but there's a lot of like black and white imagery. The woman coming up the stairs, who might be a cop as well, like she's got a red blouse that has a little bit of red. There's some red dresses on the dance floor. When they get in the alley, when they're fighting, the background, all of the art on the background, the main color is red that pops. That I think it's really interesting, the use of that as popping out of color, because it's alive and vibrant, but it's coming from one of the sort of the dead. And this feels very much like it's set in the Roaring 20s. And so you've got normally that is a powerful pop of color in those dance scenes, and it seems muted on purpose for effect. They're like once I started looking at it, I couldn't stop seeing sort of the red. And there's a little bit of blue, but it's mostly red that pops out.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're like, okay, we're not gonna make this as a black and white movie, and black and white movies aren't really that commercial. So maybe they're just trying to they found like a sort of like middle ground for that. I think the look works.
I like it. Yeah, for sure.
This is, I freeze framed on the newspaper shot. It says Killer Monsters Wanted. Frankenstein and his bride on the loose. I can't discern what the year is.
What's the time stamp on that one?
101. It's very quick, but it's hard to read the print on the newspaper to find out the year.
It is,
but,
I got you.
It's
volume 17, number 253. There's 68 pages. New York, 2 cents.
Yeah, it's got to be. I feel like it's either under the daily, which is really small, or like
or they wanted
it
to be slightly blurry so that you couldn't tell, so you didn't set the date exactly. Though I mean, I'm sure if we looked up when was the Daily News 2 cents, that would give a time period.
Is that's an actual paper still, right? Daily News. Okay, yeah, Daily News. Okay, cool. So yeah, look up issue or whatever that is. Volume 17, number 253. When did that publish?
Processing.
Do some detective work here. Yeah, this definitely got to take place between 1920 to 1935.
1919 is the first year it came. Daily News appeared, and apparently it was 2 cents. 1919.
Okay, 1919. Well, this is daily.
So yep.
So
it was 2 cents. Sunday issue is 5 cents.
But this is volume 17. You can't look up a specific volume and number.
Maybe we could. I was just looking for because it changed from 2 cents to 3 cents at a certain. It changed to 3 cents in 1944.
All right, so it ran for 2 cents for a while. So this is between 1920 and 1940.
But I would say because there's like a clapper's kind of dress outfit at one point at 137. The bride's it looks like she's in a clapper's dress, which would be like flappers.
Flapper?
Wait, sorry, flappers.
You mean flapper?
Yeah, sorry.
Flapper?
Clappers. Yeah, like 137, 138. Yeah. So I feel like it's got to be late 20s. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I buy that. I say this takes place
also
in
on the
20s.
Daily News picture. There's a camera, and that it is definitely an old school camera there, the center of it.
Yeah, there's no Nikons, DSLRs.
Yes. I really enjoyed this teaser. Did what we had these discussions. What I think a teaser should do, it teased, but you don't necessarily know fully what's going on. There's the great moment where Frankenstein is pulling the chandeliers down, like he's clearly starting a fight or something somewhere, and you're like, oh, this is like a really cool cinematic action, but you don't know what it relates to. Like, you get a lot of pieces of it, which I think are really cool without them doing, I don't know. I feel like sometimes we talked about He-Man. Like He-Man, it's like, oh, we get to see the fight. Like, ugh.
Yeah, no, it's similar to Sinners, where it's just like, it just flashes 1 or 2 shots of a scene out of context. Nothing's like built together to build up, like, oh, to help you fill in the gap. So like, oh, this is what happens in this sequence. It's teasing you. I mean, there's that in the middle of this, there's like flashes of characters. Like, you see Penelope Cruz running up the stairs. That's the only shot. You see that shot of
Peter Sarsgaard.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah. There's a couple shots of Peter Sarsgaard, but like this, there's one shot of Jake Gyllenhaal in a tuxedo, and then it just flash, and so it's a nice tease, and then smashing, there's big titles of the cast, which they're trying to like
in
hype
red.
up. Who's in it? Christian Bale, he's a draw. Jessie Buckley, she's relatively new in terms of, I mean, she's been around for a bit, but she's not a commercial actress, and right now I think this is like good timing because she's getting actually a lot of buzz for her role in Hamnet. She's probably like front runner for Best Actress. So, if she wins Best Actress there, this is just going to feed right into that and, could bring in more people to see it. But I haven't seen her a lot of things, but I think she's pretty good. I saw her on a TV show, Fargo, one season of Fargo. She's really good.
She looks great. In this, just she toes the line between like charismatic and completely unhinged, which I think is like, and even that line, they highlight it really well. Like we talked about He-Man, where like some of the humor wasn't landing, at least for some of us, and like I feel like that moment where she's like, "What's my name?" Like I can't remember. Like that just moment, it's so well done that you're like, oh, and she kind of laughs at it, that it's a great use of like, here's just a moment of the actor just kicking ass at it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was also really nice to see, is just the moments where you did get dialogue from somebody. I mean, it was very like seeing them on camera doing the dialogue rather than voiceover. There were only certain moments with Christian Bale as well, but they were like choice moments, and also I thought it fit the feel. Like you said it felt like a music video. Like that electronic music also felt like the vibe of this variation on Frankenstein. Like it's modern, like that. Like they're walking, they're walking home clearly after maybe like a date or like dancing, and then they get harassed by these guys, and you're like, oh man, they're getting harassed, and then it flips.
Yeah, and that's like really the only scene or sequence in the teaser that it sort of has a beginning, middle, end. You see the beginning where they're walking together happy, and then they get accosted, and then the tables turn, and Christian Bale, the monster, he smashes them. So that's really the only sort of moment that has like a beginning, middle, end to it.
That said, we don't know if that line, he's like, until death do us part or something like that. You don't know if that line is actually in that sequence or just taken out of sequence.
That's true. And that's just like very clever. Like, you could see that it's like, maybe that's the beginning of it, is like, or at the end after they've gone through this, like this moment. I wonder if that sequence is when that's sort of like a character moment where they like realize we're powerful. We can do this. We can be
the beginning of Bonnie and Clyde, as it were.
Yeah. The sort of like birth of that. So the character, the Frankenstein monster, asks for a bride, a mate, gets a mate. Is that necrophilia?
No, because I believe if we're going deep into it, necrophilia is the act of getting pleasure out of having sex with a dead person. And
so one person has to be alive.
Well, and the other one has to be dead. I would say in this case, they're both reanimated. So they are, It's alive. It's alive. It's not dead. It's alive.
Yeah.
I think the negative associations with necrophilia, beyond the fact that I think you can get a lot of diseases from it, is it's like non-consensual too. You're having sex with a dead body that can't say no. And I think that's some of the, I don't know what the proper term, like the disgustingness of the, like, whatever, like why it is bad. that I would say this is reanimated and reanimated, like
Oh, you know what it is? Yeah. Okay. So what would you call
when two zombies have sex. I don't know.
two, two, two? Oh,
They're
are
not
they
zombies. They're
zombies?
reanimated, but
Do you say?
zombies like
Would you
are
call?
sort of
Yeah.
reanimated via whatever
Mm-hmm.
in the zombie world is reanimating humans, but they're back to.
Okay.
But
So what would you go? Is there a word for two reanimated beings having sexual intercourse?
I feel like this is a question for Dungeons and Dragons. Like, it'd be like, well, they get you reanimate the dead and then they come back. I'm sure it exists.
It's got to. Someone's got to have created that or defined that. So there is. Okay. So necromancy.
Mm-hmm.
Necromancy. So that what's involved here, I guess, is considered necromancy. That is often depicted in literature and folklore, involves magic and raising of the dead.
Yes. Well, usually using magic. Though.
Well,
this
is probably less magic. Yeah, that like in Evil Dead, the Sam Raimi movie. That's necromancy. But I guess this is involving more science.
This is more science, like trying to bring back to life
and medical.
So, by the way, I just asked ChatGPT if there's a term for when a reanimated person has sex with another reanimated person, and they say,
"What is it?"
There isn't a single widely accepted term. Some people, as previously discussed, bring up necrophilia, but that literally means sexual attraction to corpses, so doesn't fit. It says common fiction genre-friendly terms, post-mortem intimacy. There is, thanatoeroticism, which mixes the word thanatos, meaning death, and eros, meaning desire. There's then undead intimacy or undead relations. Revenant romance might work, it says. And necroerotic bonding. And then there's playful ones: post-resurrection sexuality, reanimated pair bonding. Then the other one, thanatosexuality, related to the one, second life intimacy. So I think they're like probably different sci-fi or books that have made up terms, but I think because reanimation doesn't actually exist outside of Dungeons and Dragons or fiction, movies and books, there might not be a globalized term yet.
Got it.
We could coin one ourselves though I do kind of like the thanatoeroticism. Because thanatos means death and eros is desire, so it's like death and desire. Feels very like classic.
Yeah. Do you think
how deep
they're gonna have? Well, no. I wonder. Do you think there's gonna be a sex scene in this movie between the two reanimated beings?
I mean, it feels like I wouldn't put it past it, just because like they're trying to genre bend a little bit, modernize. Because it also is clear in the opening voiceover. It's like, when I can't remember, whatever, when I had the accident, and it was like, there was no accident. Everything was planned. Like, clearly there is a desire. But then also, I think that, as we said, the things that these monster movies, especially these classic ones, get to is sort of getting at human philosophical discussions about life, about death, in ways that normally we don't talk about them, that maybe this is an opportunity to talk about love in a very different way. What does love mean for reanimated persons who I'm assuming would never be able to have kids, and therefore, and what desire, it seems like in this they have a lot more desires, and the original Frankenstein had desires to like, be happy or be around people. That I think,
he was probably lonely.
That I think that's the interesting, and also I think the reason for wanting a bride originally in the original Frankenstein is like, just like, go biblical, like Adam and Eve, it's the desire to have somebody else like them because they feel alone and the only type of that person in the world. And so it's also a commentary on loneliness. And why did Dr. Frankenstein in the first place create another life? I'm trying to remember. Wasn't there, like, I can't remember what it was, but I feel like there's one variation at least where it was an experiment to see if it can make it work so that he could bring back his wife, kind of thing. So it also relates to love
maybe
a lot of times, and
Yeah, I mean that was that era of literature, wasn't it? The
romanticism,
right? That was that era when Mary Shelley wrote. Anyways, cool. All right. Well, just thought about that. I was just wondering. I was like, is this necrophilia?
Not necrophilia. Unless he had sex with her before he reanimated her, and that would be non-consensual, and I don't think appropriate. No.
Sure.
YouTube corner. Very on true. That note.
Okay. Okay. Couple comments. Either this bangs or it fails miserably. There is no in between.
It's gonna be interesting.
I can see that. The people who still shop at Hot Topic are going to go nuts for this.
I know what Hot Topic is vaguely. But I don't know what the reference is because I don't know enough about Hot Topic. I've heard it.
Hot Topic was a leading American retail chain specializing in pulp culture, music, licensed apparel, accessories, and gifts for teens and young adults. It had this kind of rock and roll, grunge, alternative style, counterculture style. Yeah, emo, goth, scene, fashion kind of stuff.
Sure, I mean that tracks then.
And then this one's kind of like a poking a hole at, a misconception of Frankenstein and the naming of Frankenstein. Why is she calling him Frankie? Frankenstein was the name of the scientist, not the creature. Ugh. I growing up, I feel like that's sort of
I agree.
But that's interesting.
That said, when they bring the bride back to life or reanimate the bride, it seems like Christian Bale's character as whatever we're calling him, Frankie, is the person who is leading that science, and then they have an assistant that potentially in this universe the creature became Dr. Frankenstein at some level. But yeah, appropriately, noted comment, because it is true. It's the creature, and then it's Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah, what is she gonna call him? Hey, creature.
Creed. Creed. Then we can have Creed 2 and Creed 3. But yeah, those are pretty tame YouTube comments, I gotta say. I feel like I thought it would be more, all in or bashing because, fanboys do their weird thing of this is not 100% accurate to the 1931 or the whatever.
Yeah. So what's your rating? What are you doing on this
I'm definitely streaming this. I want to see this movie. I don't know if this isn't given my limited possibility of going to theaters, I'd go see He-Man over this in theaters because He-Man is much more epic visually. And I think that, He-Man might not be a great movie, but it would look good in theaters. While this, I throw this on my projection screen, surround sound, eat some popcorn, and I got a big enough screen that it would be great at home. And then you also have the possibility of pausing it and rewinding or rewatching certain moments, because I feel like this might have things that hidden things that you want to kind of go check out again.
Yeah. Might want to watch that reanimated sex scene.
I feel like if there's a reanimated sex scene, it's gonna be to you that Sharon Stone moment in Basic Instinct was to teenage boys.
Where she's sitting in the chair. Oh yeah. Director's cut. Actually, no, I can't remember now. Is that in the director's cut or is it in the theatrical?
I don't know. I think I watched Basic Instinct once, and again, horror, psychological thriller, things like that are not necessarily my genre. So I just was like,
oh, I love the erotic thrillers from the 90s.
Sliver was also in that. Anyway,
Sliver sucks, but it's
that one's
they need more. They need to do. Sorry, hold on. Well, they need to bring back the erotic thrillers of the 90s. They need to do more of those. Yeah, they don't cost a lot of money either.
Because they're all in an apartment.
Those are fun. Yeah, and there's not big CGI.
I think you should make erotic thriller verticals, microdramas.
Hey, that would pop. That would hit.
What's your rating?
My rating. I'd see this in theaters. I think it'll be fun. I think it'd be a cool date night. Take Beth, see if she wants to go. See it in IMAX, and I'll check it out. But I have to watch the originals first. So
how many originals? Because there's a bunch of them, right? There's the 1931.
Well,
and
just
and then maybe the 70s Young Frankenstein. I feel like.
Original 31. Yeah, I would watch the Universal Monster ones. 31 and 35. Frankenstein and
you should watch the 71. I think is the Young Frankenstein. I think given Maggie Gyllenhaal and the nods, I think they'll make nods to Young Frankenstein. It's a classic. You should, I don't know. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. If you haven't seen it,
I know.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
Good.
Let's wrap it up.
Well, thank you for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, follow. If you hated it, tell all your friends and have them like and subscribe and follow. As always, I should have said this earlier, but the trailer is linked in the description, and hopefully you watched it. If not, watch it now.
And then re-listen.
Yeah,
re-listen to the
restart
pod.
This. Have a good one.
Later.